This video falls under fair use. Fair use allows commentary, criticism, and reactions.
Okay, here it is. I'm reading it. And I'm going to put this up on the 100 Show IG in the story. Part 3, the defense case. In the defense case, Ross attorney called Los Angeles Assistant U.S. Attorney Michael Emmerich, the prosecutor in the Big Splendor trial, and elicited testimony about the nature of the case, the extent of Ross' cooperation. Ross' defense, however, focused on the claim of entrapment. Dr. Melvin Book, Ross' former tennis coach, testified that Ross had complained that someone was harassing him to do a deal despite Ross' protest that he was no longer involved in the trade. And he had gone straight. James Galapia, a Los Angeles probation officer who had worked with Ross on anti-gang projects, testified that Ross was addicted to the drug business and very vulnerable after his release from jail. Ross' girlfriend, Marilyn Stubblefield, testified that Blandone and his wife had made frequent calls to Ross. Now that's his other people. Now, Ross testified on his own behalf and told of his history in the trade. He testified that his business had grown rapidly once Blandone began to supply him at a lower price. Ross said that he and Blandone became friends as Blandone taught him about the trade. Ross testified that he tried to get out of the business after his run-in with corrupt officers in Los Angeles, but Blandone kept trying to pull him back in. Ross said that he always did what Blandone wanted him to do because he was Danilo, you know. He was like my God, my number one person. I wanted to be Danilo. Ross testified that Blandone was still involved in the trade after he moved back to Miami, and that both Ross and his partner Ali Newell negotiated deals with Blandone there. Ross testified that even after he moved to Cincinnati, this is what Ohio kick in, to get out of the business, Blandone kept pulling him back in. After Ross moved back to Los Angeles from Cincinnati, he tried to stay away from and follow his dream of working on a performance theater for youth and his neighborhood, but instead found himself arrested on Ohio charges. Ross said that when he was released from prison in Texas, he was working as a garbage hauler, trying to earn money to pursue his dream of organizing a community theater. But Blandone contacted him and asked him to call Blandone Collect in Nicaragua from a payphone. When Ross called, Blandone told him that Tony had stolen money from Blandone, that Blandone needed Ross to help to earn money back. Ross testified that he repeatedly told Blandone he did not want to be involved, but he nevertheless maintained contact with Blandone because he wanted to sell Blandone the car. Ross said that he asked about the price in the tape recording conversation because it was just a habit to ask, although he had no desire or ability to conduct a transaction. Ross testified that he was in the palm of Blandone's hand. I was like his puppet. He could pick me up, you know. He could tell me to do almost anything, and I would have done it for him. Ross said that Blandone had asked Ross to someone for him before, but Ross had refused because he had a strong feeling about people. Ross stated that he had not participated in the negotiation between Chris and Blandone, but had merely been present. Finally, Ross testified he had agreed to do the deal with Blandon because Leroy Brown was lending Ross money for his community theater, and he had promised to forgive the loan if Ross introduced him to Blandon. Ross testified that he had never intended to engage in dealing until Blandon started calling him.
Hold up. Wack100 is really on IG Live reading Freeway Ricky Ross's paperwork like it's a book club? This man lives for drama. Whether it's true or not, he knows exactly how to keep his name in the mix.
That's telling.
Yeah, you can't. It's no way around that. You know what I mean? Like that's clear, black and white. No negotiation, no excuses, no nothing. Dude's a rat. It is what it is. See, I never actually read that. I seen the other one when he testified on the police. You feel me? And
remember, I told him, I said, bro, we was running the room. A dude came in there. We immediately thought he was talking about the police.
Right.
We
all thought that.
He like, nah. I said, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. He said, I'm going to send it. I started reading it. And I remembered Ohio.
That's why I remembered Ohio, yeah. Because I was like,
remembered Ohio.
Yeah.
But even after the fact, we let it, usually we go to dig it. Right? But we let it go because it was him.
Right.
So, Freeway, come on, man. Come on. You just went on Vlad. Now, Vlad got to run this. Vlad might be about that time again. Vlad has to run this. Why didn't you just, maneuver around that question with him? Like, 600. If it's a big old ugly broad that you dealt with, and out of nowhere somebody say, oh, I know about Caroline, and you know that's her, you not gonna challenge them to that? He you on it all off with his bad. Right. What about Caroline? Oh, man, that was just an old friend of mine. You ain't gonna say, what Caroline? Because
Right.
I really was.
Man,
So now there are rumors floating around that Freeway Ricky Ross might have gotten out of prison early because he cooperated with the authorities. And guess who's all over it? Wack100. He went live on Instagram, reading what he claims is Ricky's paperwork, saying it proves the rumors are true. Now look, paperwork is serious business in that world. If it's real, it can change how people see you forever. But Wack100 is known for jumping into situations like this. He's always in the middle of some kind of drama, especially when it comes to exposing people or calling out what he sees as fake behavior. The thing is, it is possible for someone to get out early under certain conditions. We've seen it happen before. And when Wack decides to read these documents live, he knows exactly what he's doing, stirring the pot, creating attention, and getting people talking. But at the same time, you gotta question the motivation. Is he doing it for truth and transparency, or just to stay relevant and feed controversy? Either way, this move is making people look at Freeway Ricky with a different lens. Until something official drops, it's all speculation. Please consider subscribing to my channel and leave a comment and like this video. See you in the next video.